Yo, 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 good morning, good morning. Hope everybody had a great weekend. So, let's see if we can get this place system looking nice before I take my summer break. I think I've come a pretty, we have come pretty far, but we have some few minor things I want to get in place. And I also unfortunately notice that the way we do the highlight might... I did this highlight effect with the assumption that I could select a camera and decide which render layers the camera should render. We're gonna explore that a little bit today, but unfortunately it seems that render layers was a little bit more constrained or a little bit less freedom than I anticipated. But we'll see, I might be wrong. Because what we do right now is that we pick this one up, and then when we start place it, we pretty much copy the visual parts of the object so that the character holds one of them. This is the copy. We can see here that this one doesn't have anything except for some renderers, right? We have a lot of empty transforms as well. We might skip that eventually, clean it up a bit, because we pretty much just want to copy every child that has some sort of mesh renderer, because this is a simple object. But if we were to place this pair, it actually has two mesh renderers. So we need to copy the object and get all the renderers so that we can render a copy of it. Yo, what's up, Jax? I also had... We could play around with the command buffer as well, and instead of copying the object, we could actually just render a copy of the object, but we'll see what's the best solution. So we pretty much have a placement dummy. It's just the same object, but only with the renderers. And then we have this object, the original object with the actual colliders and all the other bells and whistles. We need this one to properly place it. We do a lot of calculations with this. But the idea here is that instead of having two objects where both of them are being rendered as an actual object, the idea is to one of them to just show the outlines of one of them. So this one, for instance, would be invisible and we just show the outline, or make this one invisible and just show the outline. Jax, did you make these models by yourself? Yes, I did. It has been... It has been quite tedious, but I'm starting to get the hang of modeling. So the problem is that when we do this outline here, what we pretty much do is that we have a render feature that renders every object that is on the highlight render layer, and then we render them to a texture, and then we do some post-processing on that texture, and then we blit it to the screen. And I had this idea that rendering layers here, that the camera only renders the default layer, and then if we do some special stuff with the lighting, we use these layers. So I thought that adding additional layer here, or replacing light layer 1 with highlight, would mean that the camera doesn't render this layer. But unfortunately it actually does. So we're going to start by exploring this, because if the camera wouldn't render this layer, it would be extremely simple to we just take one of these and mark it as a highlighted object, and that's about it. It would be beautiful. We can probably do, so if we take this one, mesh render, rendering layer, highlight, and skip default. Good morning, Harukanan. But what we can see here, that this one is on the highlight layer since we're highlighting it, but it's also being rendered to the screen, unfortunately. We could, however, if we do placement layer here, yeah, and if we remove placement layer, yeah, then we don't get any of them. We don't get them in the highlight either. That's unfortunate. But we could probably get around that, I think. Maybe. Fuck, it would be so nice if we could just disable certain rendering layers in these settings. We're gonna take a look at the documentation once again and see what we have. This is what we could do. That is true. And then we have to disable the outlines for this one. But other than that, we should be fine. That's true. Okay, we can probably do something with this. So it would look like this. For this one, without the outlines, and this object would still be rendered normally. But then we could also, I want to be able to switch between them because I don't know which one looks the best just yet. So one option where the object copy we're holding is just being rendered with the white outline, and one where this one is the outline only. Okay, I want to see what we have. So if we go to rendering settings, okay, this is very good. This is exactly what not exactly what I wanted, but we can probably work with this. So placement layer we don't render. Although we're gonna have to do some layer jumping for this one, I think. We're still doing a lot of physics related stuff with this one, and like it needs to be on a placement layer for a lot of the physics to work. So what I would like, best case scenario would be something like this, but with the rendering layers instead. So we're not quite there just yet. How can I make this work easily? Rely a lot on the physics iterations for the placement of this object, which constrains our layers, which when and where we can place it on a specific layer. Could rely on include and exclude layers. Maybe that's a better option actually. Include layers, producing collisions. In fact, do we want to... the reason we want to have it on the placement layer is because of the very nice sweep test we do here. But then of course we could change. We could change the layer of this one temporarily when we do the sweep test. And so instead of doing set layer and unset layer, we do these before and after the sweep test. And I wonder if this one will be screwed. No, probably not. Probably actually. That means that we will get a collision after. But maybe that's not such a bad idea actually. I wonder. We can try. Okay, I'm just gonna commit this first, and then we're gonna try something. Although I wonder. Okay, before we commit and try this new thing, I just want to check one thing. Unity rendering layers. Let's see here. Configuring certain lights or decals to affect only specific game objects in the universal render pipeline. To affect only specific game objects. Oh. Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna go above that. I wonder if this is... Seems like it's only done to work for lights and decals, which is a little bit unfortunate. What we can do instead is, yo, what's up, Cooler SK? We can probably change something with the material, I suppose. Okay, we want to get away from rendering layers, I guess. We can do some property override. I wonder what happens if we do... let's pause this one. And then we set this one on highlight as well. And then we disable this renderer. Do I check for this? Get components should get the deactivated ones as well, right? Render pass. We just render by layer here, which I fucking love. Render queue range all. Okay, so if we disable this one, it doesn't render in our render feature. What I'm trying to avoid as well, what is very important is that we don't do replacement shaders. We want this effect to work for vertex displacement shaders as well. That would be the easiest solution otherwise, I think. Would be so nice. Although I wonder... Apply property override. I wonder... This is one solution, I suppose. But it's gonna vary between objects. Like we could disable specific shader passes. But then we might have a material that has like 5 shader passes and we have one that only has 1. So if we take foreground objects, for instance, they usually have... we can take cell shade lit. It has a color pass, pretty much the default pass, what renders to the screen. Then we have an outline data pass, and then we also have a shadow pass. We're gonna have to disable all 3, and then when we render the outline, we want to enable the first one. And yeah, it's just... And I wonder how this will screw up the depth texture. Yeah, annoying. It would be so much simpler if our camera, if we could just decide don't render the highlight rendering layer. Hmm. Yeah, we might need to rewrite it to work with the stencil. Haven't done much with stencil buffers though. So I'm... Mm, yeah. The wrong layers though. Okay. Tag. Okay, what we could do is... what we could do is that we rewrite the highlighter a little bit, but I just think it's gonna be quite... We're gonna make it worse, performance-wise. Unfortunately. But we could... call this one. This one should work. I wonder what happens if the renderer we send in is disabled. And what I don't like with this, okay, this is our plan C maybe. Because if we do it like this, so instead of having the highlight effect as a renderer feature, we utilize the command buffer directly much more. But then we're gonna have to instantiate a render texture that is active at all times instead of like... So at the beginning of the game, we instantiate the render texture, and that one is with us the whole time, even though we don't highlight anything. If we compare it to this render feature, it's very nice because if we don't have any highlighted objects, we just don't do this render pass or this render pass. But if we do have one, then we temporarily create a texture which we render to. Like, all of this is extremely nice. Works perfectly how it should. We sort objects on render layer. That's fucking beautiful. The only problem then being that we actually render this object as well. And that's one of the reasons I had high hopes for rendering layers, because if you have, then you can differentiate visual effects and actual game logic altering effects. So for instance, the layer here includes physics calculations, right? So you have all the physics matrix, which relates to these layers and stuff like that. And then you had rendering layers, which are only render related. But yeah. Per layer culling. Yeah, and these are the layers. Mm. Can we do... Can we do... Draw opaque objects. Can we alter this one? This is not what I want. I wonder if we can change this one. Or that's the layer mask. It's again, yeah. Would it be weird, render queue? I wonder if we could... Queue... I wonder if we could change the render queue temporarily. Maybe. But then... So we could pretty much pop it up to... I don't know what specific render queues we have. But I don't know if we set it to 10K maybe. Transparent plus 2000 or 5000. I wonder what other... And maybe that is what we should do. So if we have render queue 2000 and then we set it to 5000, then we don't render it. But we render it like this, and then we need to disable... Then we need to disable the outlines as well. think that's easy. We can just do render queue range all. I think we want to have transparent here as well, maybe. Maybe this is a better option of it. Maybe. Yo, Kuma, what's up? And welcome. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, maybe this is what we should do. But that makes me wonder. Highlight render pass. Render queue. What is this one? It's a struct. Rendering render queue range. Okay. Okay, this is probably... Yeah, fuck yeah, we're gonna go with this one. But then I wonder... Render queue here, though, is an int... Okay, yeah. Okay, that's great. I think we're gonna do this. Highlighter. Public static render queue range. Adichia, what's up? Java question mark. Now C# actually. Pretty similar syntax wise, I guess. So the only problem I have here is I wonder I wonder if we want to do this actually. We are gonna introduce an extension, I think. I wonder if I'm making things too complicated here, but avoiding using rendering layers, good. But one sec though. How will this work? How will this work? So the problem with our highlighter is that sometimes we want to highlight an object and render it, and sometimes we just want to highlight it and not render it. So we're still gonna have to work with rendering layer. Oh, so many things to decide. Kuma, which render pipeline do you use? URP, Universal Render Pipeline. Oh, fuck, if we change the render queue for materials as well, we're gonna break instancing. Kuma, alright, you're the guy I stole the outline stuff from. It's available on my GitHub for a reason. But yeah, that would be me. Yeah, fuck me. I don't think we want to screw with the render queue in materials because we don't want to break instance, which we will do if we change the render queue. So that solution won't work. Yo, good morning, Cynic. Good morning, good morning. So many things to take into consideration here. Or do we break instance? Hmm. Hmm. But we I understand that like once we have changed the queue, render queue, then we won't batch. So if we take an object, we change the render queue of it, then we won't batch it with its previous batch. But then we just want to do this temporarily so that when we change it back, it might actually be batched again. Yeah, so maybe let's try this render queue stuff. So we're still gonna have a highlight. We're still gonna change the rendering layer mask to highlight because that's what our render feature use. But then if we don't want to show it, we change the material as well. Okay. Okay, I think we can do this. I think we can. Do we have here render queue range all? Yeah, I think we're gonna do this. Okay, let's try this. Extensions. Can we actually do this as static? Okay. Yo, what's up, Star Platinum? Hey man, it's been a year since the last video. I saw you making significant changes, but no new videos. Yeah, I'm gonna produce some videos this summer. 100%. So yeah, we're gonna start releasing some videos again. Non-short videos. I wonder if we can do very interested in what render queue ranges we have currently. All range that includes all objects. Opaque range that includes only opaque objects. Transparent. I wonder if we want to do opaque. Geometry to, why can't we use this one? Okay. Can we do 2? Star Platinum, nice. I've been waiting so long, man. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. And also, you have any intentions to make tutorials about you edit your videos, though? It was like enterprise quality, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. I might do a little. We'll see. Like, currently in the pipeline, I'm gonna do a short video about the animator in Unity, or more specifically, how I used it. Real quick, and then we're gonna do a short video about how I got my apparel to follow the character, and then we're probably gonna do an attribute video and stuff like that. I have a few videos in the pipeline, but I might make a short video about the editing process as well. I know that a few have been asking for it. Cynic, they spitting facts. Thank you, appreciate it. Star Platinum, in those videos you have a cool coding layout with real-time code execution, which I don't see in the streams. Yeah, real-time code execution, you're not going to get that with C#. It needs to be compiled and stuff like that. I guess there exists some tools that try to make it into a, I don't remember the term, but yeah, so like the coding is actually, when I started making the videos, I knew that like when I show code in the videos, I just want to show only the parts that is relevant, right? Because usually when you see coding videos, you have a lot of different code. It's hard to follow sometimes, etc., etc. So I actually built like a simple tool that makes code renditions for me, so I can customize it exactly how I want it. It's pretty, it took some time, but I think the result was pretty cool. So that's not something I work with here. All excluding highlight, and then I want to do because I want to do, we want to have public static render queue. That's an enum though, so let's do int I wonder if we can do it like this, or we can maybe just set it to 5,000. All excluding highlight. Maybe something like this. It feels because then we can do let's see here, scene, create scene texture. Yeah, here we don't render anything, and then outline render feature we change. So render queue range here, we do render queue range extensions, and then we take all excluding highlight. So then we should be able to do if we have this one, we should be able to do, we pick this one up, we start to place it, we highlight it, and then we can do, we could do, if we change this one, the material of this one to be 5,000, then we don't render the outlines anymore. That's one step in the right direction. Not quite there. Transparent 2000. Do we still render this as transparent? Hmm. Why do we still... Placement layer. Okay, why? Okay, so this, something like this is what we want. But why does this one... With default layer we render this one. Without we don't. Ah, is that because... Render queue range all. Sorting criteria. Why does placement layer in this case? Culling mask everything. Oh, we have placement layer here. Interesting. I'm okay with this. We can put this on the placement layer. I'm just wondering... why we get this. Behavior. Because our camera... Our camera renders everything. Culling mask, everything. Our rendering settings, everything. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Okay. Interesting, okay. Okay, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This one is instanced. Can we check stats? How many batches? 187, 86. 186, 187, and then if we change stool back to default, and we change this one back to 2000. Yeah, it's hard to see with these. But this is probably something we could use. I'm just... yeah, I think this is good. I think this is good. And then we're gonna highlight it here as well, yeah. One sec. Shadows. Star Platinum, when you make animations, you used Unity instead of something like Blender. I don't know what 3D modeling app you used. I used both Unity and Blender. And how do you record with Unity animations? Unity has something called Recorder, which is wonderful. Like this package from Unity is beautiful. You can record in Unity at like perfect quality, at locked frame rates. Yeah, it has everything you want. You can choose frame interval, manual, single frame. It's fucking beautiful, this one. It records the game if it was a game, if that makes sense. It records it if, as you were playing the game, basically. It just records whatever is in this game scene. Okay, we can use this one. I'm just wondering about these shadows, however. And we can't do 6,000. No. I guess we could disable shadows here. Like this. Cynic with no lag as it renders and waits for the new frame until taking the picture. No lag, steady FPS and all the goodies. Yes, exactly. It's beautiful. Which, depending on how heavy your scene is, if you go with manual here, it's going to be quite laggy for you, but the video is going to come out looking phenomenal. You can even decide bitrate and GOP size, whatever that is, B frames, whatever. I love it. Star Platinum, I mean, if my thing is laggy but I want to record the thing in the highest quality, can't it do like that, you know, baking? Yeah, like if you do playback constant here, you're gonna get a smooth video outputted. It's go like exactly as Cynic says, it's going to render one frame, put it out, and then it's gonna go to the next frame. Yeah, I can't really explain it, but yeah, it's beautiful. Like everybody who develops games in Unity and wants to show them off in videos or anything the like needs to know about this one. Like when I see people sharing videos of their game, but they just do screen recording and maximize here, I die a little bit inside when this package exists. Okay, so the thing here is, for our dummy object, we create it, we're gonna need to change the rendering layer mask, we're gonna have to change the layer, and we're gonna have to change the shadow as well. So for each render, we're gonna have to disable shadows. Cynic, I guess you could describe it as sequential frame rendering instead of I'm good with whatever is on screen right now. I don't know. That sounds good. That sounds good. So for instance, if you record your game with a screen capture and you play it in the editor, you're gonna have some stutter whenever the garbage collector does its work. You're gonna have Unity editor doing a lot of work in the background, making the video stutter. You get none of that with the recorder and fixed a playback constant. It's beautiful. There's a lot of things we need to change. Cast shadows. This feels, I don't know about this. It feels, the more custom stuff we need to do to just make this work, the worse it feels, you know? But let's just make it work. So we're gonna do this. Interactable place. Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of stuff. Let's edit this one first. Visual feedback. Things, or the visual feedback object, I'm going to call it that, needs to adhere to the following. It needs to be on the placement layer. All renderers need to have shadow disabled. All renderers material need to change hue to render hue. What did I call this one? Render Q range extension dot highlight render Q. Anything else? Anything else? I think we can start with this. Interactable place. Yeah, before we change anything here, I'm just going to commit this real quick. We want to implement this in such a way that we can switch between interactable place dummy and dynamic entity. These should be easy to switch between. So sometimes we want the dynamic entity, so the real object, to be rendered in this way. And sometimes we want the dummy object to be rendered this way. So we're gonna implement some nice way to do it. So what do we want to add? We want to add scripts, actions, interactables, interactable place. Okay, so now we have it, this latest committed and done. Nice. So now we can do create interactable place dummy. Let's see here. If we put this one on the default layer, we get this rendering. Okay, we need to do it like this. And then we do private void render object. So it needs to be on placement layer. All renders needs to have casting shadows disabled. So I think the placement layer thing we're gonna fix by just setting it here instantly. So I would like to have this one as a static somewhere. But we need to do like this, name to layer. So what layer is this one? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could it be 8? So placement layer, we're not going to set this one here. Instead, game object. This one is always going to be on the placement layer. So what we need to do here is that we need to change the render queue of the materials. Are you serious? Get component. Ah, okay. There we go. Shadows. Okay, we're gonna keep track of. Yeah, that's a. Yeah, we're probably gonna have to keep track of this. Eventually. Yeah. Then again. Nah, you know what? We're gonna do it like this instead. Um, the absolute best thing would be if we could create a dummy object, and then depending on like we could just switch these two. So we use this one to properly place it. We use this one to properly place it with all the physics calculations, but then we just switch these two before we render them. But I think that might result in some weird physics stuff. But that would be, oh, that would be so good. Hmm. Oh. Maybe that's what we want to do, but we disable the renderer for this one. Hmm. But then we're gonna have to create two. We can try it like this now. But yeah, this dummy object is always, or is it? No, that's not true. But then we, okay, yeah, I think we're gonna do two different objects, or we're gonna create two copies. Create interactable place dummy. Yeah, let's do it. Two instantiates on one frame, it might... The reason I do this is because fuck, we're doing a hell of a lot of stuff on the CPU. Let's see how it works and see how bad the performance is before I try and start optimizing this one. So we create an interactable place dummy, an interactable hold dummy. And then we do interactable hold dummy transform set parent hold. So for both of these, both of them are on placement layer now. And then we need to set, for one of them, we're gonna set so for the one we're just gonna render the outline on, we need to set these two, okay? Shadow casting mode off, render queue, highlight render queue. Then we do highlight, place, dummy. Interactable place dummy, I mean. Else we do hold dummy. Okay, we're going to create one thing here soon. Something like this. So basically, this is a little bit heavy, but so when we start placing something, we create 2 copies of the object, very bare bones. We might optimize this soon. We take so 1 place dummy and 1 hold dummy. The hold dummy, we set its parent to be whatever held the dynamic entity. And then we disable a lot of stuff for the one that's not being held or whatever. And then when we update current transform, finally here we just want to do dummy interactable place dummy dot transform dot position is equal to dynamic entity get position, and interactable place dummy transform rotation is equal to dynamic entity get rotation. So it just mimics the position and rotation from the underlying object which we place. And I wonder if this is about it. We can try, see what we have currently with this setup. I'm a bit scared for the fact that we might see stuttering when we start placing the object. Okay. And we have an object here. Yeah, we want to disable. Right now we highlight both though. That's not good. Yeah, and we don't want to highlight the object we're placing on either. So we're going to fix that as well. Then we get a better placement. Although I wonder why we're highlighting both here. Where do we have our dummy objects? Okay, so this is one. Where do we have it here? We rendered this one's shadow. And it has a 2000 render queue. We don't want to set that one on the rendering layer. Okay. $5,000. Okay, good. So we can do... Which one are we... so this one is true. Okay, place. This one should be the only one highlighted. So we should be doing this. We disable this one here, and then we do renderer dot Hmm. This is also something we would like to avoid, this string here, rendering layer mask. Can we just do... Okay, it's a rendering layer mask. Which one is this? Like, this one is a struct as well. Ah, uint. But here, yeah, here it's a uint. Okay, good. So we're gonna do highlight render queue. What number do we have on this one? 0, 1. So I'm gonna assume 1. Is this how we want to do it? I think it's correct. We will double check. So here we do should maybe just rename this one render extension or put this in highlighter. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now the only thing left is I don't wanna highlight the object we're trying to place it on, I don't think. Nah, I don't think so. It breaks this effect a little bit. Okay, but let's just see if it works the other way around as well. So we can do interactable place false. Now we should be able, now it should be the other way around. Pick up place. Hmm. Hmm. The current implementation of this highlighter script is it could be nicer. When is this getting cold? Because we don't have this one anymore. Instead, we just yeah, instead we just do this one on destroy. Seems like this one is getting cold though. I wonder why. Oh, no, it's not getting cold. We're rendering it all the time. Okay. So the problem is that highlight game object. We want to disable highlighting on. The problem is with focus, action interaction focus. No, it's actually not this one. Oh, here is input. Here is one thing we want to fix. Input handler actually uses highlighter, I think. Where do we have it? Or which one is it? Let's do it like this. Yes. Yo, what's up, Moth? Out of curiosity, why use VS Code instead of VS for C#? I just found VS Code to be way more lightweight than Visual Studio. VS is too heavy for me, man. Okay, the question is how I want to handle this highlighter. Honestly, very fair, VS is super heavy. My computer is pretty old these days, and when I noticed when VS started having a noticeable startup time, that's when I jumped the ship. Okay, so my question is how the highlighter in my game, how do I want to handle this one? I knew that this day would come where we're gonna have to specify it a bit more. So the idea is that it's only tied to the playable entity. So the player character, whatever that one highlights. So my question is if we should keep it in action interaction focus, because we definitely only want to highlight things that the player focuses. But we also want to be able to focus different stuff, multiple stuff. So having it here is probably a bad idea. HowtoCAD VS Code is not code anymore, it has become an AI editor. Is that true? Maybe I should try vibe coding one of these days. And this one can only focus entities. And we want to... I'm pretty sure we're gonna put it in input handler, and then I don't know. Okay, and the last two release notes has contained only AI additions, Copilot stuff, almost no mentioning of other things. What do I want to do this? It's also, do we only want to allow for one focused object at a time? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Now when I think about it, hmm. Yo, what's up, Spyos? Hope you had a wonderful weekend, man. And thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. You too, you too. Yo, what's up, Dino? We want to get... Yeah, we switched the highlighted one to our layer here. Maybe that's enough, actually. I want to see what happens if we do... Yeah, maybe this one will change the rendering layer mask. So how does it look if we don't do it in interactable place? Rendering layer mask. But we don't... Yeah, I don't think we call highlight this object. Is that GitHub issue page in VS Code? Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, we don't send it to highlight. Okay, let's do it like this. It's using Microsoft Edge tools, which pretty much gives me a browser, a very bad browser inside of VS Code, but I just think it's very nice to have my GitHub issues here. Do we have anything highlight related here? Highlight only game object. Okay, one sec. Okay, this is nice because then we can go call highlighter here, but I'm not so sure that is our best option. And VS Code is kind of a browser. Yeah, I guess it is. The underlying. So yeah, now we have a browser plugin inside an IDE that is an inside browser. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I search for different ways to get... I pretty much just want GitHub stuff inside of my IDE. And there exists some nice GitHub plugins, but nothing that could render issues like this. So this is like the best solution right now, even though it is browserception, I guess. Okay, so what we're gonna get here is we're gonna get some like highlight fighting. I wonder if we're gonna do... I think we're gonna do focus. Okay, so what we're gonna do is... highlighter, highlighter, highlighter. I think we're gonna tie this one to our input handler. Yeah, we are. Dino, also I have those simple to-dos as docmd file inside project, but won't be able to control issues, but I use Obsidian for most of that regardless. Yeah, that's one solution, definitely. I like to have... I want to have as few things as possible. I try to put as much as I can on GitHub. And I just like having my to-do integration with issues, then we can convert them to pull requests and stuff like that. I think GitHub is incredible. Never tried Obsidian though, so... Highlighted object, occlude... Okay, beautiful. Oh, yeah. So what I think we're gonna do is focus interactable entity. Start processing. I wonder if I've built this state machine good enough, I think we're gonna have... Yeah, we're gonna do it like this. Focus can be used by a lot of different entities as well, playable and non-playable. Can we fix this in a nice way? Yeah, we can. Then Obsidian is just a very cool text editor of markdowns, allow tons of fancy plugins while keeping all your things as markdown. Ah. I see. I fucking love markdown. It's beautiful. And I just recently, this might be GitHub specific, it just recently came to my knowledge that, let's see here, that it actually supports diagrams in GitHub. That's like doing stuff like this in Markdown, this as well, but I will probably not need something like this, but this, fucking beautiful. Mermaid is a new thing, yeah? I don't know how new it is, but yeah, it's beautiful. Haven't used it yet though, but soon, hopefully. Dino, just check it. There was a famous video for it. Does incredible things. Definitely will. Definitely will. Okay, action, interaction, focus. This one is going to be used by playable entities and non-playable entities. So in a nice way during setup here, during awake, we want to make sure that we highlight objects in start processing if it's a playable entity and disable highlighting when we have stop processing. That is the nicest thing we can do. You could do dot graph, but it's very old. I never used dot graph either, actually. But I'm gonna do some real cool shit with Mermaid eventually. I think we can do it. Okay, I think we can do it like this. Start processing, stop processing. Action, interaction. Let's see, action. Try stop processing. Stop processing interactable entity. So when we do, okay, beautiful. Yes, okay, great. Maybe. We do stop processing first, which means that this one will be unset. Interactable entity. And then we will change it. Oof. Try stop processing. Now that's not the best flow, unfortunately. Fuck, am I gonna have to have a if-else here? Basically, when we stop processing here, we want to dis-highlight or unhighlight something if this one is attached to a playable entity. Dino, can I post a link to Obsidian video? Yeah, sure. Please do, please do. Nice. I'm gonna take that one and copy it for later. Okay, the flow here is a bit that we do this one. But maybe it's not too bad. I mean, we could set up a function here. We're gonna do a lot of shit here eventually, so we might just do... let's go with an if statement here, first of all. So I think we're gonna do action interaction. We are gonna do entity provider. Protected animate entity, and we're going to call this host entity. And then we're going to do in awake host entity is equal to expect pickup and then we can get rid of the we do it in start. I'm okay with moving it to awake. Dino, he combined Can I Hear, he talks about how to take notes and then shows the demo. Nice. I'm gonna check it out after this stream and enjoy that coffee, and thank you for the lurk. Okay, so we do something like this. So action interaction is always between two entities, interactee and interactor, or something like that. I don't know. But every action interaction needs to have a host entity. I don't know if that's the best name for it, but yeah, we don't need to do this anymore. And so now we have a host entity here, and I'm wondering if you want to do, yeah, and then we're going to take our highlighter. We're going to put this one as a component on input handler, because it's very much tied to input handler. So we can clean this one up a bit. We're not going to keep game object highlighted object. We're going to make this one such that it can be highlight multiple objects, even though we won't use it for a lot of the time. And then we can also hopefully add some nice highlight specific stuff. So we can clean this one up. Render pass event, highlight to screen material, occlude, yes. Pre-pass, render pass, this one we remove. Awake, we just create the render passes. Yeah, we're gonna add this one like this. We remove this one. We remove this. Start on destroy. Highlight game object. And remove this as well. We're gonna make these a little bit more streamlined. So we're just gonna do highlight game object. Do it like this, and this one, we're actually gonna do it up here. But after we have created it. So then we just do, what is this one? It's a struct. Unit engine rendering layer mask. So if highlight is true, then we want to do rendering layer mask. Don't extension. Render queue range extension. Yeah, I need to fix that one eventually. And then we do highlight render mask. Otherwise we do yeah, we're gonna rename this one soon. Can we do it like this? And here we just we might want to have both. That's true. Fuck me. But we can fix that. We do it like this. On render pipeline, we skip this one this time around. On begin render. Yeah. Okay, it's pretty bare bones right now, but that's nice. And then we do mono behavior. Hmm. Start on destroy. Something like this instead. Then I want a public. Oops. Highlighter. Like this, and during awake. On destroy. On destroy on a singleton. Oh well. We destroy it, and then we just need to create it. Like this. And then we have before we change focus here, I just want to see if we highlight. I wonder if we highlight anything right now. Maybe. That's not good. Oh yeah. That's very bad. Value cannot be null. Oh yeah. Yes. We have one problem. Let's do it like this then. Input handler, highlighter. Yeah, that's what we're doing now, but not exactly like that. System serializable, and then we do and then we actually don't need to do this. Input handler, highlighter, render pass event before rendering, no. After rendering skybox. Okay. Visual information. Ooh. Okay, I get it. Oh, we're gonna load it so many times. But for now, let's ignore it for now. I'm thinking if this makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Shader tag IDs. Really? This one I get though. Or not this one, but this one. Hmm. Okay, that's this one, but fuck, tag to ID is not allowed to be called during serialization. Okay, I get it. So let's do... Yo, what's up, Start Platinum? Or welcome back. It's going pretty good, I think. Let's do it like this. Mm. Are you serious? Ooh. Mm. Blitter, blitter, blitter. Highlight to screen material. We set this one here, this one here. I don't know. Yeah, we don't call this one. We're gonna have to add a instantiate method here. Star Planner, do you work with anyone? Not on this game, no. The to-do list is planned by yourself. Yes, indeed. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And as to inspiration, I get inspirations from everywhere, pretty much. I play a lot of games myself. This. Haven't played Slime Rancher, actually, but I know about it. Looks pretty damn nice. Are you serious? How is it possible that this one doesn't get set? Or is it being set too slowly? Highlighter instantiate. Get private set. Here we create the render pass, pre-pass, we set it up. And then we create this one with this material. And then we do this after everything is set up. Star Platinum, but talking about this game, I have another, like I do this part-time and then I have a part-time, another job for the money. But on this project I work currently alone. This doesn't make much sense currently. Everything should be properly set up when we get to this point. But for some reason it isn't. Starplanman C, thank you, but do you work at a company or online? My other part-time job is for a company. But honestly, like, it depends. There's ups and downs with both. Do we have multiple? This should be the only highlighter, right? Highlighter new. Let's delete this one. I see. Let's just add one of these then. This one actually gets called we just want to do this if playing or I guess we could actually do it like this. Is it these two that hasn't been instantiated just yet? I know that it complains about the material. Weird that it's the material, because we should never be getting to this point unless we have a material. But we are. Can I just disable this one in the editor? It's not allowed. But I don't want to do this during serialization. I guess we could do this. It feels like the serialization, it destroys more for me currently than it helps. But like, I want the setup to be, I want to be able to set it up in the editor here, just like this. I think that's nice. But I guess we can do it like this then. Mono behavior. Remove this one. We remove this one. Not as big as Maybe. And then we do highlighter is equal to game object. Highlighter if highlighter is equal to null. We're gonna get a problem with the material here as well, but I'm okay with that. We don't need to do this. And if we do it like this, then we can put this one up here again. Or can we? Maybe not. Honestly, don't know if that's... Yeah. Input handler, highlighter, and then we do add highlighter after rendering skybox and apply material and not occlude. Now it should work, I hope. Yes, okay, so now we have a pretty good highlighter. We have it implemented in a different way, and hopefully we can make it work with this placement. But that's gonna have to wait until tomorrow because I need to run. But it feels like we're right at the end of this placement system, so I'm happy about that. I want to get it done before the summer hiatus. Yeah, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Gerald, what's up? What's up? Appreciate the lurk. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tomorrow, I think we might be able to close it up tomorrow, actually, this placement system. Very nice. But thank you so much for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.